अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला सय्यिदिल मुरसलीन अम्मा बाद फ़ाऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम. Welcome to my channel Chemistry with Zeeshan Ahmed. Today we are going to discuss physical and chemical properties of alkali metals. Let's start the topic. Before moving on to the physical properties of alkali metal, we need to just revise what are the alkali metals. Alkali metals are the elements which belongs to the group number 1, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. They are supposed to be alkali metal because they belongs to group number 1. We need to discuss the physical properties, which is the reactivity of metals. We are going to discuss the density. We are going to discuss the melting point, and then we are going to discuss their physical appearance. The first property which is going to be discussed is the reactivity of metals. Alkali metals are highly reactive metals. ये इतने रिएक्टिव मेटल्स होते हैं कि हमें इन्हें रिएक्शन से बचाने के लिए वाटर से और एटमॉस्फेयर में मौजूद वेपर से और इवन एयर से बचाने के लिए वी नीड टू स्टोर द एल्कली मेटल्स इन ऑयल. वी नीड टू कीप द alkali metals in oil to prevent further reaction, to prevent reaction with air and water. The second property is the density. Alkali metals have very low density. As you remember, the density is directly proportional to the masses. The few alkali metals like lithium are supposed to be very lighter and they can float on the surface of water. And similarly, sodium can float on the surface of water. So we can say that they have very low density. Or if we are gonna just comparing the densities, the density of lithium in gram per centimeter cube is around 0.53 gram per centimeter cube. The density of sodium is around 0.97, or the density of potassium is around 0.87, and after potassium we have rubidium and its density is around 1.53 gram per centimeter cube. The next in line is the melting point. Due to the high reactivity, they have very low melting point. They require very less amount of heat energy to convert into solid to liquid form. They have very low melting point. For example, if we are going to comparing the melting point of different alkali metals like lithium, the melting point of lithium is around 180 degrees Celsius. After lithium we have sodium. Its melting point is 98. After sodium we have potassium. Its melting point is around 64. And after potassium we have rubidium. Its melting point is 38 degrees Celsius. The last one is their physical appearances. Alkali metals are soft solid. If we are going to comparing alkali metal with the transition elements, so the transition elements जो होते हैं वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा hard and solid होते हैं, but alkali metals are soft solid and you can easily cut by knife or blade. They are soft solid, you can cut by knife or even with the blade. and after cutting the alkali metal you will find the kind of grayish और shiny surface. अच्छा, अब अगर हम इसके अंदर इसके ट्रेंड्स के ऊपर भी बात करें कि हाउ दीज वैल्यूज एंड हाउ द रिएक्टिविटी, डेंसिटी एंड मेल्टिंग पॉइंट में किस तरह से वेरिएशन आ रही होती हैं एंड व्हाट आर देयर ट्रेंड्स, तो अब अगर इसको देखो तो डाउन द ग्रुप आने के ऊपर फ्रॉम लिथियम टू potassium, if we are going to moving from lithium to rubidium, cesium and francium, reactivity increases. Reactivity increases down the group. This is the trend of reactivity of alkali metal. Reactivity increases, and it is clear from the melting points. It is starting from 0.53 to 1.53. यहाँ से बहुत इजीली पता चल सकता है कि जो डेंसिटीज़ हैं वो भी डाउन द ग्रुप आने पे इंक्रीज हो रही होती है. तो ट्रेंड ऑफ डेंसिटी क्या होगा? डेंसिटी ऑफ alkali metal also increases. And the last one is the melting point starting from the 180, it is going to be decreasing. Melting point is also decreases. Melting point decreases. So this is gonna be trends of melting point, boiling point and reactivity. So these are the trend. We can clearly observe that reactivity of alkali metal increases down the group. और अगर हम डेंसिटी की बात करें तो डेंसिटी भी डाउन द ग्रुप आने पे इंक्रीज हो रही होती है, बिकॉज डेंसिटी इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द मासेस. जैसे जैसे एटॉमिक मासेस बढ़ते जाएंगे डेंसिटी भी इंक्रीज होती जाएगी. और अगर मेल्टिंग पॉइंट की बात करें तो क्योंकि डाउन द ग्रुप रिएक्टिविटी ऑफ मेटल इंक्रीज हो रही होती है, तो इसी तरह हमें बहुत ही स्मॉल अमाउंट ऑफ हीट चाहिए होती है उसे मेल्ट करने के लिए. सो मेल्टिंग पॉइंट डिक्रीजेस. Now we are going to discuss the chemical properties of alkali metal. The chemical property which we are going to discuss now is it is a reaction with water. How the alkali metal is going to be reacting with water. How lithium, sodium and potassium is going to react with water. Now remember, whenever alkali metals react with water, it gives kind of vigorous or violent reaction depending on the nature of reactivity of different metals, and it forms metal hydroxide and hydrogen gas. And metal hydroxide can be represented as MOH. M is representing metal and OH is going to be hydroxide, and the formula of hydrogen gas is H2. I can write it down this again, like it is the formula of hydrogen gas is H2. For example, if we drop alkali metal on surface of water, then it gives kind of vigorous reaction. For example, I am considering it is lithium. It gives vigorous reaction, and it not only gives vigorous reaction but it melts into small balls along with liberation of hydrogen gas and forming colorless solution. This colorless solution is soluble base, which is metal hydroxide, and this soluble base can be identified by different kind of litmus paper. If you are going to be taking litmus paper and you will dip in this colorless solution, then it turns into blue, and litmus paper turns into blue. अच्छा, अब हम बात कर लेते हैं कि इसके इक्वेशंस किस तरह से फॉर्म होंगी. लिथियम रिएक्ट्स विद वाटर form lithium hydroxide and hydrogen gas, and their states and symbols. As we know that lithium is in solid form, we are taking cold water, its state and symbol is L. Lithium hydroxide is soluble base, it is represented by AQ, which is aqueous, and hydrogen is gas. And the observation we are getting from this, that how lithium is gonna be reacting, इसलिए कि हम ये बात कर चुके हैं कि lithium is kind of reactive element, लेकिन अपने ही ग्रुप में उसकी रिएक्टिविटी बाकी alkali metals के मुकाबले में कम है. So the reaction of lithium with water would be quickly. Lithium quickly reacts and it will melt on the surface of water. Alrighty. The next equation is how sodium is reacting with water. Sodium is reacting with water in a similar way. Now the sodium is reacting with water, again forming sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas, and their states and symbols will remain same. Solid, H2O in liquid form, sodium hydroxide in aqueous form, hydrogen is gas. Now the observation says sodium is much reactive than lithium, so it gives kind of violent reaction. It gives violent reaction, and the sodium darts around the surface of water. Darts around the surface of water. This is going to be observation for sodium with water. The last one is how potassium is going to be reacting with water. Whenever potassium is going to be reacting with water, it will give the same kind of reaction with different product. Potassium will react with water to give potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. The states and symbols will remain same. Potassium will be in solid form, hydrogen is liquid. We are taking cold water because the reactions are vigorous or violent, so we need to control the intensity of the reactions as well. Hydrogen and this is going to be gas. But if we talk about the observations for potassium, then how potassium is going to be reacting. So the first one, there's going to be more violent reaction, and there would be a kind of explosive as well. I'm quite lazy in balancing the equation, so we can balance the equation like we need to put 2 here, 2 here and 2 here, or in a similar way 2 here sodium, like 2 and 2 here for balancing, 2 here, then 2 here and 2 here. So the overall reaction is when alkali metal is reacting with water, they are forming metal hydroxide, and these all are considered as metal hydroxide. Lithium hydroxide is a metal hydroxide, sodium hydroxide is a metal hydroxide, potassium hydroxide is a metal hydroxide. Fine. Or the gas would be hydrogen, will remain same. Now the most important part, which is exam based question. अब हम बात करेंगे कि alkali metal से related MCQs कैसे आते हैं और structured questions किस तरह के हम एग्जाम में देख रहे होते हैं. अच्छा, अब the first MCQ is a lump of element X can be cut by a knife. During its reaction with water, X floats, and this is something overwriting here, it floats It's enough. So as we know that alkali metals are having very low density and they can float on surface of water. So in options में से we can figure out which one is alkali metal. The right answer would be potassium, because potassium has tendency to float on surface of water, and because potassium is alkali metal and they are soft solid, so they can easily cut by knife. The next one is a metal X in group 1 of the periodic table would be expected to, option A, form a nitrate of formula X nitrate, form an acidic oxide, form an insoluble chloride, produces hydrogen from cold water. As we have discussed कि कोई भी alkali metal जब cold water से reaction करते हैं तो they will form hydrogen gas. So the right answer would be D. They produce hydrogen from cold water. The second question is, the third one, which is from paper 2. The table shows some properties of the group 1 metals. हमें properties दी हुई है lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium है, and we have given the density, melting point and boiling point. अब बात करते हैं कि इसके फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन के ऊपर. डिस्क्राइब द जनरल ट्रेंड इन द डेंसिटी ऑफ द ग्रुप 1 मेटल. फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज में हम डेंसिटी को तो ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, लेकिन यहाँ से भी तुम डेंसिटी को इजीली देख सकते हो. द डेंसिटी ऑफ lithium is 0.53, then 0.97, then 0.86, then 1.53, 1.88. तो अगर सिर्फ इस टेबल की ही बात कर लें हम, तो डेंसिटी इज गोइंग टू बी इंक्रीजेज. तो पूछा ये कि डिस्क्राइब द जनरल ट्रेंड इन द डेंसिटी ऑफ द ग्रुप 1 मेटल. तो जनरल ट्रेंड क्या है? डेंसिटी इंक्रीजेस. डेंसिटी इंक्रीजेस. The second is the predict the boiling point of potassium. You need to predict the boiling point of potassium. अब यहाँ पे मुझे actual boiling point नहीं लिखना है, क्वेश्चन में मेंशन किया हुआ. You need to just predict. So जो भी boiling point होगा वो 883 से कम और 686 से ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. तो it could be somewhere between 700 to like 650 or so. इसके दरमियान आप कोई भी वैल्यू यहाँ पे फिगर आउट कर सकते हैं, लेकिन इसका एक्चुअल जो है वो है अराउंड 760 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड और सो. तो आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू बी राइटिंग डाउन लाइक 700 और 710. आप इसके दरमियान कुछ भी लिख सकते हैं. डिस्क्राइब द ट्रेंड इन रिएक्टिविटी ऑफ द ग्रुप 1 मेटल विद वाटर. वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इट ऑलरेडी के रिएक्टिविटी क्या होती है. Reactivity of group 1 metal also increases. Construct the equation for the reaction of rubidium with water. कोई भी alkali metal water से reaction करता है तो metal hydroxide form करता है. और हमने आपसे ये बात कही थी कि alkali metal में हम for example if we are taking lithium, तो lithium will form lithium hydroxide. और in a similar way अगर कोई तुमसे कहता है इक्वेशन बनाने के लिए सोडियम की with water, तो that would be sodium hydroxide. सही. अब यहाँ पे बात कर रहा है रुबिडियम की. so the equation would be rubidium with water form rubidium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. You need to balance the equation as well. We need to place 2 here, 2 here and 2 here. Okay. चाहो तो यहाँ पे states and symbols भी लिख दो. That will give you solid, it is liquid, it is aqueous, और ये है gaseous form. The second question is when sodium reacts with water, hydrogen gas is given off and alkaline solution is formed. Describe the 2 observations that can be made when sodium reacts with water. 2 marks का ये question है. It is of 2 marks. You need to write it down the 2 observation. I am Writing down it violently react with water. The first observation, it is going to be violently react, and the second observation is uh, darts around the surface of water. Darts around the surface of water. You can add one more thing here, violent reacts and melt. इसके अलावा कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशन और हैं, वो भी आप इसके साथ ऐड कर सकते हैं, इसलिए कि एल्कली मेटल जब वाटर के साथ रिएक्शन करते हैं तो बबल्स ऑफ हाइड्रोजन गैस फॉर्म होते हैं. तो यू कैन ऐड हेयर, अगर किसी को नहीं याद हो ये दोनों, तो यू कैन ऐड बबल्स ऑफ हाइड्रोजन गैस आर फॉर्म, बबल्स ऑफ H2 गैस आर फॉर्म. इवन अगर यू कैन जस्ट राइट इट डाउन, बबल्स ऑफ गैस आर फॉर्म, तो भी सही है. और फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू आर राइटिंग डाउन द effervescence आर फॉर्म, तो भी ठीक है. Write an equation including state symbols for the reaction of sodium with water. You need to write it down the states and symbol as well. और अभी ये क्वेश्चन कितने मार्क्स का है? 3 मार्क्स का है. तो फर्स्ट वी नीड टू राइटिंग डाउन द इक्वेशन. सोडियम reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. The formula of hydrogen gas is H2. I need to write it down the states and symbol as well. It is solid, it is liquid, aqueous, and it is gas. I need to balance this as well. There's 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. Thank you for watching this lecture.